Hey y'all, good evening. It is day 18th of the 28-day radical heart challenge. I got like one more. I'm like halfway through. Day 18. Oh my God. No, it's 19. Yesterday was 18, right? Because today, today's it's going along the date. So today 19. Wow. Um, I am extremely thankful. And why I'm on this journey too, I'm getting a little bit more tech savvy along the way. So my name is Keita. I'm reporting from, or I'm checking in from Maine. Yes, yes, yes. I've been living in Maine since 96. Love it, love it. Would not go back. Um, going to stay focused. So a lot of things have been happening this since I checked myself into the intensive care unit, the ICU. And in that, I'm giving myself radical attention and care and witnessing me as I practice every moment of every breath. Staying centered in my truth. And some of the things that I noticed about this 28-day radical heart challenge is that my process and what comes up for me, it's going to be very different than anybody else in their process. It's kind of like when the COVID virus happened. Remember COVID? And the way that the disease manifested in people's bodies. Um, like there were some general same symptoms, but it really highlighted, I would call symptoms that were not easily detectable, but came up in COVID, right? I feel like that's what the 28-day radical heart challenge is like. It's having me focus on the things that need to come up, and then this convergence of all the different planetarial, ancestral, God, high power energies that are all culminating. And so this makes this journey particularly intense based on my soul contract and patterns, the things I'm here to learn and the things I'm here to teach and share, right? So today I wanted to do something a little different. I told you that I have a group, a team of some of my entrusted sisterins mentorships. Um, and actually today I was talking with one of them, as you can tell, got my hair did. And another one, the dear good friend of mine, I want to give a shout out to Miss Jackson. But we were what I wanted to check in today with you guys is some of the things that we processed that has been coming up, right? So I want to get in here, and let's do this. Let's do this. So I'm pulling up a couple of notes that I wrote down here. Um, and I'm going to read it and then we're going to go through it, okay? So the Radical Heart Challenge Day 19 has revealed to me multiple layers of observation in the simple occurrences of being in the ICU. There is the ICU, seeing me, seeing me. There's ICU, seeing me, seeing me. What I've discovered, there are multiple observations from this radical heart perspective. In this moment that I'm in, there's a multi-universe. Like we talked about the quantum physics, there's a multi-universe of realities that are enacted in this breath right now. That's why multiple truths can occupy the same spot at the same time. So and for my journey, there's the wise observer, the higher self, watching, sending good vibes, all being observed and learning the reoccurring patterns in exchange. That to me is also like, I'll come back to that. Then there's like the me, there's like the little observer, the young one that's watching, the hesitant, holding back to trust, afraid and vulnerable. That's that little like 4 to 7, something like around those ages, maybe 3. Then there's this other watchful eye that I recognize is called the judge observer. And it's dedicated to the cause, dedicated to procedure, dedicated to being on the right side. Um, and I'll come back to this. There's a judge, and that judge is really about the ways in which I'm judging myself. Like there's a judging team. I don't even know who they are, but they judge me. And it's also part of the observing me in this ICU. Like, wow, who are those judging teams and where'd they come from and who assigned them up for this journey with me? Then there's the sensitive teenage. This was something that really came up online this year, just before the 28-day radical heart challenge. I recognize we talk about the little you, but I realized there's an angry teenage me. And she's like 18, 19, 20, 21. That's the young woman that wanted to be the actor, wanted to be the professional dancer, wanted to be the model. And she chose, uh, every time she stepped into areas of power, of like being like recognized. I was in an all drum girl band, punk band back in New York, all these powerful things. But then I acquiesced. I stepped out of my power because a lot of it was about relationships, and I had to have like this relationship, right? And so I acquiesced my power to men. And so that's a teenage side looks back at me. That's kind of like, look at you, like, why did you do that? Why, um, uh, but she's also the sensitive teenager. The eyes of watching, she's hypervigilating, she's swirling in frustration with compassion. She's wanting to fix, repair, and activate healing from suffering. Because also in that era, I saw a lot of, I was in the danceteria age, the punk pop rock stage, and I saw a lot of people hurting and things like that were coming online. Then there's the watchful eyes of the pure hearted one, taking the time to rest, create a moment to peace, take the time to space, pausing moments to get grounded. Who are the observers ascending and gathering today? Like, all these are multiple fractions of how I'm recognizing I show up through these multiple lenses, and there's probably more in one single incident. So it's like important to recognize that when multiple truths occupy a space at the same time over it could be an incident, there's never really one correct right. Um, it's like the African proverb about like the big elephant in the room. I forget from what tribe it comes from, but there's a big elephant in the room and everybody's blind and they're touching the elephant and everybody describes it's the same elephant, but one is describing the tail, one is describing the ears, the trunk, and they all have different expressions of the elephant, but it's all the same thing. So multiple perspectives of the same one thing, but it doesn't mean that anyone is wrong. That's a lot of the stuff that we find ourselves today in a culture where we do not talk with each other, that we get stuck in our own fragmented part of the world, and then we think that what we say is right. And then in that too, a lot of times become victimhood. We lash out. We're trying to so much defend whatever stance we're in that we don't take a moment to chillax, which by the way was a term I coined back in 2016. Just putting it out there. Chillax, and I'm always coming up with words. Raggedy, none of my terms. Permission to be raggedy. Um, we don't take time to slow it down, check in, and recognize if our truth is the only truth that coexists, that lives in the room. Okay. Um, I also talked about today, I'm trying to find some more notes about the process of being in the ICU, and I said it was kind of like, like, like the fish swimming upstream, kind of like salmons, and like And the water is life. Like, and so like, I recognize it in this intensive care unit. I'm this fish swimming upstream against the current. But I'm also a pure heart and I'm doing it. And my friend broke it down like, yeah, God is the water and you are the fish and you are swimming, and that salmons through their pure, they're trying to get back to their nesting grounds, their original place of where they came from, and they're going with pure heart intentions, with love and trust, even though they know that a bear could come and swipe them out of that water and eat them whole. And like, it really stopped to make me pause around this idea of, wait, wait. You mean I'm not doing anything wrong? I'm actually living life and I'm moving through this place of like pure heartedness, love, and these intentions, and I can still get swept and eaten by that bear by no fault of my own, because what? My time is done. Like, that analogy also blew me away. It blew both of us away. But that's what I feel like this practice has been about. Me, a fish swimming upstream, but in her analogy too, she talked about the water as being life, the God, and then that we gotta trust in the flow, and sometimes we gotta swim upstream, following our heart, getting to that destination, that heart-centered self. Wow, right? Um, and so what I'm recognizing in this journey is these unfolding. This is just layers and layers and layers unfolding. Today I had an incident where there was friction with another person, and I paused and I stopped and I checked in with myself, like, what's going on and why. And I also had points that I thought were valid, was trying to be right. And I was like, why is this not working? Because I'm pure or whatever. And then I realized something I talked about a couple other days ago, that in the communication that I was using, I actually thought I was communicating, but I hadn't communicated fully my intent or what I was doing. Like, I shortchanged it because it was in my head. And then I realized, and again with the help of my team, oh snap, part of that communication fell down because I expected someone else to know what I was thinking and thought I had communicated that, and I didn't. Not clearly. I have to own that. And I'm not saying the whole thing was my fault, but I recognized my point in it. And being in this intensive care unit has been intensive and humbling to see the places like in COVID that are trying to come out to be healed, rising out to the surface and demanding that I take a hold of my life. Like, it's game time. It's spiritual evolution time. And in my 52 evolving self, moving from that heart-centered self, I am recognizing more and more the sovereignty of me and my life at my own hands. And that sounds counterintuitive, because if we believe in God and we believe that we are riding this current, this God, and we're in that high. When I say higher, I do not mean in a hierarchical moment. It's more like this acknowledgement where I'm working from, when I say higher, I mean I'm working higher than matter. I'm working spirit, not matter. That's part of the shift right now. Like, we are working spirit, not matter. So I never want to sound like I'm higher than, I'm working higher plane from someone. No, that's not at all. And I want to just clear it up right now. That's not what I'm saying. And we need to stop saying that. I'm higher than you. No. But it is a certain risk and a vulnerability that is radical, especially when everything around us is screaming power, control, manipulation, dominance, all the words, right? Like all the oppressions, all of them, all of them. And so I recognize I can't go around either putting out fires. My energy body was not made for that. But I can be the fire. I can be the flame. I can be the embers that are burning, that are keeping those coal fires burning in my heart and my soul, and moving from that place, believing that in that pure heart eyes, I can be the heat, the warm heat that warms the bones at the core of the soul, just by emanating the light. Now that is radical. So imagine, not imagine, take that word out, feel. If you could step into that light, what does it feel like for you to be in that embodiment of that light, that heat, that fire? Are you able to let your light bright shine out through each and every pore of your body? Are you able to shine and be seen? That's a real one. Not just shine, but to be seen in the light. And are you comfortable shining? And then taking the precautions even around you, like a lighthouse. You kind of want to bring people, but there's also these rocky edges that protect the lighthouse. I need that. And that's that healthy practice around boundaries. Boundaries is not about keeping people out, it's about how to be in healthy relations. Walls are about keeping people out. People who build up walls do not have relations. They don't. But boundaries is about me staying in my lane, keeping up those bumpers around me. Where do I begin? Where do you end? Healthy boundaries. What is my capacities? What are my limitations? Healthy boundaries. And I get to share that and state that and communicate often, repeatedly, if need be, for myself too, that these is the codes, this is the frequency in which I operate. And remembering the other piece I see you that's really falling away is not everyone's going to like me. And I'm fine with that. Like, that is such powerful medicine. And no longer do I want to be liked by everybody. And no longer do I need to please or shrink in order to be liked or accepted. Like, that has fallen away. Wash my hands. Part of the snake, the dead skin that's fallen away. And as I step into this ring of fire, only thing I have to do in this configuration is not do any sacred ceremonies or whatever. It's in the being. And that's what this 28-day Radical Heart Challenge is about. It's being, coming in the room and beaming into spaces. Every space. Every space that I walk into, I beam. Feel that for a minute. And now I give myself permission to beam. I don't shy away from my light. I know who I am. And I hope you do too. So my prayer for you is you are a light. Your beacon will be different. Your frequency will be different. We may not gyrate in the same atmosphere frequency, and that's okay. just because of the frequency of the nature. Just like notes in music, when you know you hit a sour note, something doesn't jam, you don't hate that note. You might use it in another tune, but you don't not a particular constellation of the music that you're making, like an artist in paint. You might throw in a certain color or a certain depth, and you realize it doesn't fit. Do you hate that color, that depth? No. You say, oh, that's not gyrating in this configuration. Let me try something different. That's the type of grace I like for, if I was to say one thing, to practice that with each other. Like we're all different flavors, we're all different vibrations, we're not going to all gel. And to remember something else, we may not always be right in our perceptions. And that's just a possibility for a connection. And I think in that place, I think about when we were little kids, before all this Facebook and stuff, we knew that you either got your ass kicked after school if you opened your mouth or something was going to happen. Like, we knew how to navigate social spaces differently than we did now because of things like fisticuffs, meaning that, yeah, say that to my face. But that's some real important piece that we don't do now. I'm not talking about saying my face, pull a gun out. I'm talking about the old days in the streets, okay? I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and that was around a time where people pulled their fist out. That you got your ass beat or whatever it was. And it was about accountability, how you showed up, what you said. Um, um, uh, some of it was about rep. I wasn't hanging out with those groups of people about rep. I didn't have to do that so much. But there was a certain respect or codes of the streets around. You knew what to say and not to say because your community checked you and kept you in place. Today was all this anonymity behind in Facebook and all this crazy bullshit that we do, and behind the scenes throwing, like, saying shit and then hiding. We didn't do that. If I said something, it was in your face. And if I knew you were gonna kick my ass, I'm not right. But you understand what I'm saying? Though some of those checks and balances are gone. I see with kids today. Kids don't know how to hold their own. I'm not promoting fighting violence. That is not what I'm promoting. But there was a time where you got yoked. You got snatched. And if you think about it, that's also radical love. Because, like, just think about it. I'm saying it because. Like, people telling you there are limits. And also knowing that you had to pull your weight and stand behind what you said in somebody's face, to their face. Right? That's gone. Gone. Um, I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole, so I'm going to pull myself back. Here we are at the 28th day Radical Heart Challenge and day 19th. My name is Keita. Thank you for joining me in this journey. I am so thankful that the frequency is getting out there, that I'm connecting with people, that I have I want to give a shout out to my teams, my sisters who hold me accountable, hold my back. Big shout out. I'm just going to say it out there to my girls. I don't know if they want their names mentioned too much online, so I'm not going to say it, but they know, those who are watching, they know who you are. And that's another thing about this 28-day challenge, and I see you, me seeing me, is that my sisters are seeing me too and holding me in that circle. Like I don't have to do this by myself. In fact, none of us are supposed to do this by ourselves. Okay? We're not a victim of our lives. We're not victims of our circumstances. And if you are feeling that way, Check yourself into the IC unit. Give yourself some radical, intensive love and care. And see what really is in there for you, not for me. Be the medicine, because you are. And the cure, when you built up this body that God gave us, holds the medicine that's uniquely for us. We have the antidote within us. We really do. Like homeopathy, we have that antidote in us. And we have to activate it when we get radical with love. So on that, I think I said a lot. Thank you. Thank you, Keita, for showing up for you. Just get emotional because it's big. Signing out from Maine, and I'm so proud of you, girl. We see you. I love you so much. More even. Yeah. Ashe, Amen, Aho. Love you so much. I hope you love you so